Strictly Ball Business, episode 16, baby. Here we are, ready to talk about the greatest happenings in the National Basketball Association. What's the first topic you want to talk about today, Dalton? Is it the exciting young core of the San Antonio Spurs?
Yeah, that's it.
Let's do it, man. The San Antonio Spurs is going to be our first subject today. Their young core is very exciting. They have a lot of new guys here, the new era that's being coached by old Splinter himself, Greg Popovich. And they finished 33-39 last season. They have great potential to make it to the play-in, maybe the playoffs this year. And Greg Popovich has somehow become underrated, even coaching these young guys. But let's get to the young guys themselves. Dejounte Murray is a very exciting young player. I'm sure you got a lot to say on him.
Yeah, I mean, just his stats from last year, 15 points per game, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. His assists are increasing every year. It's awesome to see, especially as he got I think 2 years ago was his first year really running the point shortly after Tony Allen and Patty Mills has left. Not Tony Allen, Tony Parker. And then defensive rating of 109, shot 31% from three. Could be better, but he's been spending too much time with DeRozan, only shooting 3 a game. It's just he's got to do a little more than that, especially with a few of the other guys I'm going to mention. But, I mean, he's definitely their point guard for the future. He's been in trade talks with a win-now team like the 76ers trying to get Ben Simmons. He definitely already fits into his role. I think he can still get better, especially offensively. He's great at guarding the pick and roll. He's actually a lot like Smart with the way where even if he switches onto the big, it's not a liability. Like same thing with like Josh Hart too. Like all those players, they get that big on them, and it's not like mouse in the house. I mean, it is because they're still taller, but they're still physical enough to hold off that big.
Right.
He's able to see a play develop and interrupt it. He's able to react to everything that's going on with when he's on defense, looking on offense, and just well developed handle. It's serviceable for a starting PG. He's not too many turnovers, so that's great. Of course,
yeah, he's got great potential to take this team to the next level as he becomes kind of their first option with DeRozan out. Only had 15, almost 16 points per game last year, but I could honestly see him scoring around 20, if not, more than 20 this upcoming season. And he's a solid rebounder for a point guard too, with 7 rebounds a game. I mean, that's awesome. That's a guy who, is aggressive. He's attacking the paint. Obviously, that's where he's getting a lot of his buckets, seeing that he was only shooting 3 threes a game, but he's a dude who makes his other teammates better with almost 6 assists per game. I think that number is going to go up, hopefully. I don't know. I like to think that a guy like Keldon Johnson is even going to make another step next to him as well with DeRozan out. And this is maybe a pairing that is so young and so talented that it could be one of the best young pairings, maybe like the next Damian CJ that we see in the coming years.
Yeah, I think that'd be really cool to see. But he loves to attack to like a fault. A lot of the highlights I was looking over and just games watching, he would get free off. He would get enough space where any other like serviceable shooter would have taken that shot, but he still chooses to try to get it downhill on him, and it didn't work all the time. Like the either help defense would come in, so he's just got to be more willing to take that shot. But I know Greg Popovich still isn't bought into that 3-point, just let him go offense.
No, he's definitely not, because they were dead last in makes and attempts for 3 last year.
Yeah. Oh, that doesn't help with DeRozan and Dejounte on the same
I think that's
team.
going to be better this year, though, too, right? They look faster. Their pace is, I think it's encouraging to see based on what it was last year to this preseason and summer league games. And it's a lot of young dudes who they have a lot of talent at the guard position. So I think, running and gunning can be their identity, and they add a couple of guys who can shoot like McDermott and Primo, and maybe Murray even gets better as a shooter, seeing these guys make the team better at it as well.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I thought that was what their moves were. They're like, all right, we'll get McDermott and Primo just as, all right, we'll start shooting threes. Popovich is like, I guess it's not the 90s anymore. Got to
Yeah.
move on. But
No. I mean, Popovich is smart. He realizes what he's got to do. I mean, he's
analytics don't
not
lie.
satisfied with missing the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
for sure. But one person who's I don't see making a huge jump shooting wise is Keldon Johnson. However, I do see him making a little more of a jump. I mean, right now, 12 points, almost 13 points per game, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 40 shooting splits of 48, 33, 74. Uh, from the field, 48 is fine. Free throw, 74 is fine. 33 is not the best from three. I mean, it's for a Spurs team, I guess it's fine. But
for a 22-year-old, it could get better, though. I think,
yeah,
that could certainly improve a lot this year, and we could be looking at him with a completely different perception.
yeah. I mean, he's a little jack of all trades player, strong rebounder. He's a super hustle player. Still not as smart defensively on that end. He's just, I mean, he's there to try, and hustle is like everything. So eventually he will learn it. But as of right now, he's still just, he makes the wrong moves, bites too quick on defense, and it's not the best doing that. But I mean, he is still like a, I think eventually he can get to a plus minus of positive if he really buys in on that. Not buys in on that, and if he starts to learn what he needs to do on that and step out as a better playmaker would be nice. I mean, with guards, the guards that are currently have aren't the elite playmakers as they are. Like Dejounte is good. He's getting better, as we said. And Lonnie Walker is not a good playmaker. Josh Primo has certainly the potential. We'll have to see how it translates. I mean,
he didn't get a ton of opportunity to play make in college. He was just kind of a lot of corner threes and a lot of catch and shooting opportunities, which he's elite at. Like that is a big reason they drafted him. But even in the preseason games and the summer league games, it looks like they want him to play make more, and he is dribbling more. Passing, I think there's a little bit more to be desired there, but he's at least not turning it over as much as you might expect right now.
Yeah. Him and Lonnie Walker are really, I see as competing for that 6-man role coming up. I mean, I think it's going to be hard to take that starting shooting guard from Derek White, but I think if they start hitting shots like later on, I'll mention Nico Alexander-Walker on how far he's come and how he's really fit into the role he thinks they really need. But that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to fit into that. Like, obviously this team needs shooting. Defense, they have one of the best defensive coaches of all time. Obviously, they have some good defensive players like Potil and Dejounte Murray, but they're getting there. I mean, like, if we want to start on Lonnie Walker, like, third-year player, he's getting more and more minutes. Like, I liked him when he first came in. He's a huge energy player. When he steps on, super exciting to watch. Offensively,
he gets up there, man.
Yeah. And he really helps his team with shooting. Like, this guy has confidence. He just goes. Like, he's the only player on here where I was like, did Greg actually draft this guy, or was this like a front office thing? But no, yeah, he's a super confident shooter. I mean, he shot league average last year, but he's getting better every season, and he's looking shooting super well so far. And
this is going to be a big year for Lonnie Walker. I mean, I think this is going to be, you're going to see a big leap out of him, just from an efficiency standpoint, even.
Yeah, and he'll be a great offense off the bench. He can go off the dribble. He still has a lot to go on that end, but he can still go off the dribble. Great off-ball movement, which is awesome to see. I mean, he still needs to get better playmaking, only 1.7 assists per game with about, I think it was 1.2 turnovers. That's a horrible ratio, actually, for somebody who's just catch and shoot most of the time. He's a poor defender, but similar to Keldon, like, he gets out there and he tries more on the offensive end. Like, he looks like he exerts so much energy on the offensive end. It's hard to get back on defense like that. But super exciting.
I hear you. I mean, he was a ton of fun to watch with the crazy hair that he used to have. Now with the buzz cut, he's just a stone cold killer, which I love that too.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to see big things out of him. Another guy you're going to see big things out of this year could be Devin Vassell, who looked really solid in the recent preseason game. He's only 21 years old. He didn't have big numbers last year, but didn't have big minutes either. But decent shooting percentage, 46%, and close to 35% from three, but only on 2.5 attempts. So maybe we get some more attempts from three here. Maybe he's more efficient. And I would love to see a big jump from him this year as well.
Yeah, it's cool because they drafted him on his defense. He was supposed to be one of the better defensive players in last year's draft, and of course, I just kind of knew in the back of my head during the draft. I was like, I think the Spurs will just get him. They're like, he likes playing defense. Come to San Antonio. We'll take
perfect.
Greg will love you. You don't need to know offense. You just need to come here. Offense will come.
Kawhi, you know who Greg would have loved in this draft?
In this draft?
Yeah.
Who?
Scotty Barnes.
Yeah. I mean, I think they were hoping the lottery would go their way. That he would.
But then, like the love for Scotty Barnes, it just kept going higher and higher throughout the offseason. So
yeah, once they really figured out
he wasn't gonna fall to 12.
Yeah, it was his playmaking that really came. Like he was always a good defender, and that was why he was supposed to go top 10. But once they started learning, like, oh, he could be a really good playmaker, that's what pushed him up. But
yeah. But yeah, back to the Spurs. I mean, a guy that I want to talk about who they did draft at 12th overall is Josh Primo, which obviously surprised everyone at the time, especially seeing that he was the youngest player in the draft and seeing that Alperen Sengun was available at that point as well. So I was kind of thinking, they need a big man. That would be a good way to go. But they really were enamored with Josh Primo, who they think if he spent another year at Alabama could have gone even higher in the draft. And they were like, you know what? We want this guy now. So here we go. He's from Alabama. Like I said, youngest player in the draft. In 30 games there, he was mostly a catch and shoot guy, but one of the best spot up shooters in the nation. He had 8.1 points per game. He could have got more minutes, but he was a freshman and they had more reliable senior there. 2.4 rebounds. He's a 6'5" guard, so he can get up there. And I'm, hoping that his inside game can even improve while he's with Popovich. I think that's kind of part of the idea. And with that, he's a good shooter, 43% from the field, from 38% from three. And this team needs shooting. They know that. We know that. And that's what they see in him. It makes sense that they want to bring a guy in here that had 1.2 points per possession in spot up shooting situations. That's elite. I mean, he has a quick shot too. And he shoots a lot of deep balls too. Even in the preseason games, he's got a few feet past. Yeah, he's got great range. So, a lot from the corner, but I think he can shoot it from all over, to be honest. So I'm excited to see this guy grow.
Yeah, like I said, he's going to be a great tool for them. I'd like to see how his playmaking translates a little more. I mean, so far in the preseason, he's been great. He's been more than what they asked for immediately. Like I know they're probably expected this, but probably not this soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said it.
It'd be great if he can give them solid minutes this year. I mean, he has shown the ability to finish in the paint, but he needs kind of a better ball handle. And I think that's something that he just puts in the time, the hours, and he should get better at it.
Yeah, I think his ability to create for others and his raw playmaking skill is really good. It's gonna what settle him, whether he deserves in Greg's eyes that backup point guard spot and the ability to run an offense who's not gonna more.
Yeah, Greg wants a guy who's not going to turn the ball over and is going to be able to make his teammates better.
Yep, smart, crisp decisions. That's what Popovich is all about.
Yeah, I mean, and he does well in the pick and rolls as well, which Popovich likes to do that pretty often, and not as much passing through the pick and rolls, but as a shooter, he's shown some potential. So hopefully you get him in more of those situations and he can see the opportunities to pass the ball as well.
Yeah. But Another guy competing for that guard on there is Trey Jones. I mean, I liked him coming out of college. He has not gotten much time left. He hasn't had much time in the NBA so far. I haven't gotten to see him much. I don't. I just haven't seen enough.
Is this his first, or I thought this was only his first year? Is this his second year?
No, he was drafted second round pick last year.
Last year,
So,
okay.
yeah, but he had like no playing
35th.
time. I don't know how much playing time he's going to get this year. I mean, he wasn't the. I mean, he is really his defense which was what would have drafted him higher, but also he is smaller sized guard and his shooting hasn't been the best, and that's kind of what's dragging him down. So we'll see what happens with Trey Jones. I think he certainly has the potential to find a rotation spot on this team.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously very talented. He played really well in summer league. I think the tough thing for him is there's just a lot of talent in front of him, and they spent a high draft pick on Josh Primo as well. So
yeah,
that's and tough.
It's probably really hot in San Antonio. That Apple Valley boy is not used to that.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. But you know that his brother's down in Memphis, and they're both enjoying being away from the snow now. I'm sure.
Lucky
that we don't have yet, by the way. It is October, but it's coming. We have gotten in October pretty frequently.
Probably next week.
Probably next week. But yeah, I mean, I love the Spurs young team. I think that they have a great potential to have an awesome season, be better than they were last year. I could see them making the playoffs easily, and you never know once you get there. This is a team that could surprise a lot of people, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
So moving on to our next subject, the Orlando Magic. They are an exciting young team as well, who we already broke down in one of our early episodes, but they are maybe needing to put a halt on the excitement here because two of their young players are still hurt. Markelle Fultz and Jonathan Isaac are still hurt. And the NBA season starts in a couple weeks, and they're still going to be out for how long for Markelle Fultz?
Neither one has a timetable, but they've already, the furthest they've announced is neither one's going to play in the season opener. They'll see from there. They're both rehabbing. I mean, you would think Isaac's further along than Markelle, because Markelle got injured 5 months after JI, but also taller guys take more time to rehab than shorter guys like Fultz. So still no timetable. I mean, obviously, I think the Orlando's going to be more patient they've always been patient with injuries anyway. They just would rather have them come back healthy. Yeah. On top of that, I'm sure they don't plan to be good this year anyway. So take your time. It's going to be able to get more development time for Suggs, Chuma, Wagner, and Cole Anthony. So
yeah, I just worry, especially with Markelle Fultz, if those other guys are showing out and they continue to be hurt. You know, do the Magic consider trading away Fultz or Isaac because they're like, hey, we don't want to stunt the growth of Suggs. Maybe Cole Anthony shows out a ton. I don't know. I mean, are we close to a point where these injuries are going to be too often?
Yeah, I mean, both players have had injuries going into it, and it seemed Fultz looked a lot better once he came back. Once he finally got rid of that thoracic outlet syndrome, once he finally got cured of that, it looked like he was going to be healthy. I mean, he didn't really go out much. It was just this ACL tear. He was very Derrick Rose-esque, like violent movements like that. But it's hard to say. I mean, I lean more towards JI is going to be always injured, and Fultz will come back for a while. I think after this injury, I don't see him getting injured again. However, he's the one. So Jonathan Isaac, even if he gets injured and the Magic find a place for him, and I think Jonathan Isaac will be more easy to trade than Fultz. Fultz will essentially become a bad contract. I mean, this was it. Like, they've given him years to see his potential, and if he keeps getting injured and losing time on the court, people are going to look at it and be like, it's going to eventually turn into a bad contract. Not that I think he's a great player, but once you pile up $20 million a year plus no playing time, like, who's going to trade for him? It's going to be just like they are with Gary Harris now. Like, people would trade for Gary Harris, just not $20 million. That's buyout territory, and nobody's going to, Magic aren't going to buy out Gary Harris just because
he's
Gary Harris.
Well, reality is that both Markelle Fultz and Jonathan Isaac are on make it or break it years, so to speak. I mean, not to the point where they're going to get cut out of the league if they have another bad year, but the perception of them is hanging on strings, so to speak. So I think like they need to prove to this young Magic team that they're worth keeping around and worth giving more money and extensions to in the future. So
yeah. But on the bright side, I mean, RJ Hampton, I really considered him as the odd man out with really within the 10-man rotation. I assume it'll be probably a 10-man because I mean, if Fultz was in, I would put Fultz as starting shooting guard or point guard with Suggs. Oh, I had him as starting point guard and Suggs is the starting shooting guard, but now Hampton gets all those minutes and he's looking really nice in summer league. He's able to get in. I mean, his shooting's really what I was concerned about anyway. He was never that great of a shooter, so seems like he's doing well off ball. Cole Anthony's doing fine. I mean, it's only preseason, but he's looking a lot better. A lot of Magic fans were pretty scared after watching Cole Anthony in summer league because he really did not. He wasn't efficient, didn't do well. And I was like, don't worry, it's summer league. Like summer league's all about. They're like, we're gonna put you in situations you're never gonna be in just to see how you do. So he had to make these tough shots, put into plays that he just never runs. It's not his play. So that's why he was inefficient. Now he comes back hitting shots from the bleachers. You know, did you see a shot? The first game, it was actually like crazy far away. It was like Steph Curry range, but then like even Steph Curry would probably be like,
no, he launched it and he went up with such confidence, like he always does, because that's who Cole Anthony is, and he's got that swagger. You need guys like him that are dogs, you know, like a Patrick Beverly, a Montrezl Harrell, maybe not a Montrezl, but you know what I'm saying. You know, guys like PJ Tucker. You know, Cole Anthony is the next PJ. No, I'm just kidding. But Cole Anthony is, I think he's got a nice X factor to him. I think he is going to help push this team further, more than a lot of people would.
Yeah, and his shooting, I mean, he's didn't shoot that efficiently last year, but I thought that was just more of a rookie thing. I mean, he's come in, he's shooting fine, like we just talked about. Like, if that shooting is going to go as far, like he could find himself in a small ball lineup closing games if Fultz comes out to be as good. And like a small ball lineup was probably Anthony, Fultz, Suggs, and then Isaac and Carter, someone like that. But it's going to be really interesting to see how it plays. Because so like the more I see out of all these guys, like Suggs, Cole, even Chuma's doing fine. Franz Wagner's not. Like he was just. I knew it. I'm like, should have got book night.
But season hasn't started yet.
I guess. I just don't. I already don't see it. I've seen nothing from Franz Wagner that I'm like, all right, cool. I'm glad we got him. But it just reminds me a lot like that year when not like they're the skill level of the Celtics, but it's the same situation. Like Kyrie was injured, Gordon Hayward was injured, so like that's when Jaylen Brown and Tatum had to step up. They got all these minutes, they learned to run the offense, and it was just awkward when the other two came back because they're like, we just played a year and a half without you, and now we have to, like, because you're like the stars of this team, we have to just fit you in the offense now. And I think it's a really weird place to put it. I don't think that'll happen again. These guys they're not huge egos, they're not stars. They're like, all right, they're just there to play basketball and get better.
I mean, the Celtics made it to the conference finals in that year. So unless the Magic with Suggs leading the way make it like super far, they have like an amazing regular season record before those guys come back, I don't really see it being the same situation. And as far as we know, Markelle seems like a great leader. Jonathan Isaac is a religious nut. But, you know, I think this is a team that can glue together pretty easily. I think Suggs was a leader at Gonzaga and Franz Wagner was a leader at Michigan. I think this can be a great team. Yeah,
I think 5 years they could be one of the best teams in the East.
Yeah, I can see the timeline. You know, this is looking like a rebuild so far for the Magic.
Yeah, I just really want to see someone, whoever has that superstar potential. I mean, assuming Jonathan Isaac stays healthy, he's gonna always be a defensive player of the year candidate if he's healthy. And I'm
Yeah.
like, because he's just, I've never seen defense played like that. He has all the tools and he's able to use them. It's like,
Yeah.
like if Kevin Durant or Brandon Ingram was like, I'm just gonna lock in on defense, it'd be like that's like their potential. And I mean, same thing as the opposite. Like if his offense was as good, it'd be like Brandon Ingram or uh Kevin Durant. But I don't like usually players get on elite on one end. It's very rare that they're elite on both ends. I mean, Kawhi's an elite
Yeah.
defender, but
He's
then but
both.
no, yeah, but also he's still not like the best shooter. Like
Yeah.
he
Sure.
shoots fine. He shoots like 37% from three, and he only takes like 5 a game. He doesn't actually shoot that much, but I'm
Sure.
not saying he's not elite on both ends. I'm saying like
He's an
that elite.
elite.
Like
He's an elite driver, and um, I mean, he gets to the free throw line better than a lot of people in the league. So
yeah,
I think that's for the modern NBA one of the best skills that you can have.
yeah. I'm just saying like you never when you see a superstar like a Rudy Gobert, like he'll never reach how good he is on offense,
Yeah, I
like
hear you.
defense on offense. Same thing. Kevin Durant's a fine defender, but he's never going to reach how good he is on offense
Yeah,
as good on
no,
defense is what I
yeah.
mean.
I mean, the only person who we're seeing doing it right now is Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yeah. Well, and even then he's not a total liability shooting, but like that's a huge part of his offensive game. That's
Still,
if he
I
had
would say he is elite
he
offensively, though.
is, but it's just still to my point. Like he's never going to he's not as good offensively as he is defensively. But
Sure, I get you. You're splitting hairs, but I
yeah,
understand. Here we will split some more hairs on the next debate of Jalen Green versus Cade Cunningham, the 1 and 2 overall picks in this last year's draft. I think Jalen Green is going to have the best career out of the two. And Dalton, what do you think?
yeah, I think it'll be Cunningham. I mean, definitely like Cunningham. So I just see it both. It's fortunate because both of them have all the space to turn into the team whatever they need. They're both teams fully bought in. They're like, you're the guy. We're coming in. But I think the Pistons more than the Rockets because they don't have a Kevin Porter Jr. On the
Yeah.
Pistons. So Kevin's already like, I'm gonna have the ball in my hands all this time. I want to average 10 assists a game. They still have Christian Wood, who's probably going to be if not their second, but if not their first, he'll be their second leading scorer next season.
Hold on, you're
Uh,
talking about my guys now.
Christian
I
Wood.
would
No,
argue
no.
with
So
my guys that that is a positive, sir, and that Jalen Green having a better player next to him or just as good in Kevin Porter, who is great and has flashy passes. He wants to get the ball to his buddy Jalen. I think that's a positive. I think that is a great thing to have another star next to you. Like, that only helps you stand out more because you're going to have a better team. And I'd rather have a team that could, be really great and have the best player on that team than one dude leading garbage city. Not necessarily that that's what Detroit is, but I'm just saying that they are one of the top cities for stabbings every year.
yeah, well, but the argument isn't who's going to be the better team in 5 years. It's who's going to have the better career. And I mean, when
Sure.
you look at it, I in the end, it's still semantics because it's like the argument of Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson had the better team around him, but Larry Bird had the better individual career, 3 MVPs, but he only won two championships. Magic Johnson won three. But anyway,
Magic's
but
better.
he has so much points. I'm I think Larry Bird's better. Larry Bird just had a bad back, but Cunningham is going to have all the room he wants. He already has shooter. He has Sadiq Bey, great
Sadiq Bey,
shooter.
yep.
He's got
Isaiah Stewart's a great big.
yeah, great. I mean, a really good pick and roll partner. We're going to see a lot more of him, assuming he stays out of foul trouble. Of course, Jeremy Grant is great. He's just one of the most versatile players there. Shoots, defends, do whatever you want. So I think it's going to be awesome. I'm going to love seeing that 2-man game between Grant and Cunningham. But
That's
Cunningham
true. That's an
and
underrated 2-man game.
Yeah, and Cunningham like proved in college, like everyone in college was like, "Oh, he's gonna be great because he's a passing, rebounding, great size for a guard." But like his shooting was that was the biggest question going when he was going into college, and then he became like an awesome shooter. And they're like, "Oh well," so like he's gonna always get better. Like, and
Yeah.
I think he's gonna be better in 5 if we even look at it in 5 years. But by the end of their career, I think he's gonna be a better defensive player than Jalen Green.
It wasn't saying that
And a
he
better
had
playmaker.
40% from three last year. I mean, I didn't see that coming.
No, neither did I. But I mean, both Green and Cunningham shot 50% in summer league from three. Jalen scored more, but I don't
Jalen
think
is an automatic bucket getter, man. I mean, yeah, of course he scored more because he's the better player. Here's the thing. He is a guy who can get any bucket you want him to. It doesn't matter what hand you have in his face. He had this move this last game. He got by Kuzma on just a fucking nasty crossover. And then he went up for the layup with the guys in front of him, went from the right to the left, and boom, got it in. Because that's what Jalen Green does. He puts it in, and he probably uses condoms when he puts it in as well. I'm just kidding.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, that would have been a cooler highlight if it wasn't Kyle Kuzma as the defender.
Okay, yeah, it's true. Kyle Kuzma gets crossed up probably almost all the time. But
Daily.
here's the thing. Both of them are 6'6". Your boy Cade was supposed to be 6'8". They lied. I think he might be more like 6'2". He doesn't look that big out there.
It's the hair. But he is going to become a lot better of a playmaker. And I mean, by the end of his career, I won't be surprised if he'll be averaging close to Luka numbers. Like I'd see him 5 years, probably 23, 8 and 8, maybe a steal and a half.
Yeah.
He's definitely going to be, he has better reach, he's better length. So he's going to be a better defender than Jalen Green. And I think already he's a better leader just because as a point guard, he has to run this offense. And I think he is going to have full control of this offense. So he's going to be able to gather them all together rather than Jalen Green's more of he's going to just go out, score, get buckets, do whatever you can. But I think really the leader is going to be Kevin Porter Jr. on that team going forward.
Yeah. I think Jalen Green has great potential to be like a James Harden, to be their easy James Harden replacement. Or at worst, he's like a Chris Middleton. And maybe he's not as good of a defender as him, but maybe he needs to bulk up a little more. But this is a dude he can get out in the fast break easily. He's going to have great chemistry with Kevin Porter Jr. He's got an awesome big and Christian Wood to toss it up to as well. I think you'll see him become a better playmaker as well. So this is a guy in terms of numbers that I could even see getting to 8 assists, maybe 7 assists per game. And looking at points per game, we're talking maybe like Bradley Beal numbers, not necessarily like what Bradley Beal did this last year, but, like 27, 26 points per game. I think this is a guy who can score from anywhere. He's going to get free throws. He's going to probably shoot like 11 or 12 free throws many times a game and hit most of them. And you'll be like, God damn, why do my guys keep falling? You're gonna be so mad, but it's gonna be because he's so crafty and he forces your guys to follow him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about 8 assists a game. I think he'll max average 5 assists in his career. I think it's going to be a lot like Bradley Beal's assists, where he's not the best playmaker, but his assists just are a result of him breaking down the defense and able to make the next pass or the pass out to the wings, the outlet. I think he's going to be I think he'll be a smart passer, and he's not going to be like the worst playmaker. I just think that's not his role on this team, nor will it be, especially while they have Kevin Porter Jr.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. Kevin Porter Jr. is there to take a lot of the playmaking away, and that's awesome that you can have a guy like that. But that doesn't mean that they can't both score a lot and dish out a lot too. So I think they're both super talented players.
Yeah, I mean, just super excited to see where they both go. Excited who the Pistons are going to get next. I mean, they really need another piece. I don't think Cade and Jeremy Grant are going to take him to the finals.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be cool if they get like a solid big. I know they have Luka Garza, who was awesome in college, and they just guaranteed a 2-year contract to him. Maybe he becomes a great player in the NBA. I don't know. Isaiah Stewart, I like him a lot. He's been working with Ben Wallace. Get him to play like him. That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
I mean,
better size than Ben Wallace too. Not as athletic, but yeah, it's still a great guy to learn from.
Yeah, no, I mean, they've got some solid players on this team. I think Sadiq Bey, he was really good last year immediately in his rookie season because he's a great shooter, but he's got great size to be a solid defender as well.
Yeah, and he fits right into what they're doing with Cade. Him and Jeremy Grant. Funny enough, like both the best two players, like next to them, like Jeremy Grant, Sadiq Bey, they fit just as well as Christian Wood and Kevin Porter fit next to Green. So it's really just down to the players, those two players, and what they can do.
Yeah, no, they've done a good job at getting this squad assembled. Obviously, falling into the number one pick when you have a guy who's as great as Cade in the draft, that's awesome to be able to get that. So that accelerates the rebuild a bit. And I think, yeah, if you only add to it, hopefully get another star like player here.
Yeah, hopefully.
But I want to move into some game reactions. We had Wizards versus Rockets, and the Rockets won 125 to 119. It was a really solid game for our guy, Kevin Porter Jr., that we were just talking about. He had 25 points, 7 assists. He was getting to the line with efficiency, and he was hitting threes, just getting buckets. Like, he's an awesome ball handler, keeps it low, gets by people. He had alley-oop to Jalen Green that Green wasn't necessarily expecting, but he finished it anyways. And it wasn't the best game for Green. He only shot 4 of 14, but he had 6 rebounds. That's encouraging to see, at least 4 of 6 from the line. So
yeah,
take it.
I've on the other side of that, Josh Giddey was like the biggest thing to talk about. I'd like to see a lot more of him, but he really proved a lot of people
That's not
wrong.
this game.
Wait, oh yeah, was this
Wizards? Wizards Rockets.
Wizards Rockets. Yeah, you're right.
On the other end, they had Corey Kispert, and he was
it.
5 of 9 shooting, 2 of 6 from 3, 12 points. So Kispert's a dude who looks good. Dinwiddie even said earlier in an interview that he's sneakily athletic. And then he said, well, I realize that has some racial overtones, maybe. So I'm taking that back, which is great because, he's probably sneaky athletic, real brings his lunch pail to work type of guy. First one in, last one out,
Yeah. That's one thing that Wizards team really needs is just a good shooter aside from Bradley Beal. I mean, they have Dinwiddie now, so that's cool. But Rui, Denny, Bryant, Gafford, none of those guys are good shooters. They can, I think, Rui
Bertans,
out of all of them. Bertans, but that's all he can do. Him with his 8 fingers.
That's why they got him though, and they did get Aaron Holiday, who shot 2 of 3 from 3 today. He's a guy who I think is underrated. Could be really solid for the squad.
I think he's certainly underrated. He's still not the best shooter. He hasn't developed into a good shooter in the last 2 or 3 years he's been playing. I don't have high hopes. I do like what he does, and what he does is just create offense, and he can just score the ball. But I think Corey Kispert's going to add a lot more if he can just become like a Duncan Robinson type shooter or get close to that. I mean, Duncan Robinson's a whole nother deal, but if he can just get close to that role and try to fit that'll be fine. Similar to Sadiq Bey too. Like, it'll get you a place in this league.
That'd be great if they could become Duncan Robinson.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're solid over in Washington. I thought they did well for the Russell Westbrook trade after when they got him originally. It was kind of questionable, but hey, they were able to get rid of John Wall with that too.
Yeah. I mean, really think about it. They basically traded John Wall and a first-round pick for Harrell, Dinwiddie, not Dinwiddie, Harrell, Kuzma, KCP. They have KCP, so they do have a pretty good shooter. Who else did they get? Did they get anything else in that trade? Well, I think it's Kuzma and Harrell are enough. Like, not for Russell Westbrook, but still getting back. I consider
they got a first round pick out of it too. So whoever that was, I don't know if that. I think Kispert was their own pick, so I can't remember. It was Isaiah Todd.
Maybe
that might have been their second round pick. But back to the Rockets side, they've got some really solid players over here, and today kind of solidified that. Alperen Sengun looks awesome. He can drive to the rim easily. He's got a nice spin move, and he can shoot a little bit too. So this is a guy who's going to be versatile, and at his height, I think he's going to be very welcomed over there.
Yeah, I think Sengun's going to be the steal of this draft. Maybe not the best player, but I think he's that guy that they're going to be like, oh, he should have went a lot higher.
Yeah, I
He's
mean,
awesome.
yeah, I mean, he went like 16th, right, or 15th.
Yeah, no, he was.
He was talked about going higher than that. He was definitely sliding.
Yeah, I think he was still in the lottery. I thought, or right outside the lottery. So I think 15th
Yeah,
sounds about right.
yeah, yeah. I mean, they had traded up to that pick, I think, with the Spurs. So
Yeah, that's
yeah.
it.
So um, next game I want to talk about is the Utah Jazz San Antonio Spurs. Spurs won 111 to 85. There was a lot of Jazz starters and key players out. Ingles wasn't playing, Gobert wasn't playing, Bogdanovich wasn't playing, and neither was
Conley.
Rudy Gay. Donovan Mitchell did play. Mike Conley did play. Donovan Mitchell, he shot 5 of 19 from the field. Absolutely gross. Mike Conley was 2 of 8. And Jared Butler was 6 of 15, but he had 16 points, I guess. The Spurs, they looked really nice, though. Spurs looked really nice. Like we were just talking about their young, solid squad here today. It was a tough game for Derek White, but our boy Dejounte Murray played solid with 17 points on 50% shooting. He hit all his free throws. And who came to show out today? Joshua Primo. I mean, Primo Vera pizza, baby. I couldn't believe it. He was slicing and dicing it out there. 7 of 8 with 17 points, 3 of 4 from the 3. An absolute catch and shoot killer. And he even showed a little bit of playmaking skill today. And he shot it a little bit, few feet from the 3-point line even. So he's got tons of range extender, gold, platinum. Stamp it, throw it in a volcano, bring it out, eat it. That's what he did. This dude is a beast.
Yeah, I've Joshua Primo really showed up. Like I said, like this is a lot earlier than they were expecting to see this from him, and he's doing it in preseason. Obviously, it's going to be a little different when it comes to regular season, but I mean, it's really good to see that he can do that and it can translate to NBA game. And he can certainly fit that role that they need him to do. And I think it was awesome to see that. Yeah, Jazz. Really, what I was concerned about it, I wanted to see how Azubuike would do, and he didn't do that great. I was hoping he would do a lot better, but he was fine, I guess. Just wasn't that lockdown defender I was hoping he would be, or that the Jazz was hoping he was going to be. But this is only one game. There's still more to come.
Yeah. It's a long season. Jazz were the number 1 seed last year. I expect them to be chasing that and be close to it again this year. A guy who came back for the Spurs after being on a championship squad last year was our boy Bryn Forbes. And he shot a solid game. He had a couple threes, 2 of 4, and he was 4 of 8 overall. I mean, it was like deja vu. I didn't even realize he was back there until I watched the game, and I was like, holy shit, he's back. It's like the Superman, his cape was out there, and when he was in Milwaukee, it was like Clark Kent, but he's back in San Antonio. Superman's back.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I wouldn't call him Superman, but yeah. What a weird thing. Like, they didn't even. He went away in free agency too. Like it was just like they just didn't sign him, and now they're like, no, we'll pay you.
Like, oh damn it, we messed up, baby, come back.
That was like, we do need shooting.
Greg Popovich, he had the boombox and he's playing "Baby Come Back."
Careless whisper.
You can blame it all on me. This team, like we said earlier, they've been looking for a big man, though, right? And someone who showed out a little bit today, not a ton, but a little bit, is your boy Jock Landale, the Jock from Landale, Dale City, Dimmadome, damn Dimmadome, dang. He's 6'11", 225 pounds, big dude. Maybe could be a little bit bulkier, but he had 8 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. The buckets were nice, and 5 fouls. He at least didn't foul out.
At least. Good for him.
That's all you got to say. Good for him.
Good for him.
Nothing I want to say on more. Jock Landale. Yeah, okay. Fair
Jock
enough.
Landale. Remember the name.
Remember the name. JL, baby. Anything else to say on this game for you?
If he averages more than 10 points a game this season, I will get a Jock Landale jersey. I'll hang it on my wall right there.
I want Jock on the jersey. I don't want Landale.
Just Jock. Do they make that? I could probably just get a custom Spurs jersey. This is the only custom Spurs jersey I will ever get, or anyone in the Midwest will get.
Yeah. No, we got to have some San Antonio fans up here in Minnesota.
Do they get custom jerseys though?
Maybe. It's a very, very small demographic. But the next game I want to talk about that you were excited to talk about is Oklahoma City Thunder and the Charlotte Hornets. Man, they got a couple of playmakers on both sides here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The standout of this game for me was Book Night. I thought he made me cry. He was like, the Magic did it again. We could have got him. We could have got him. This is what we get.
Yeah, 20 points, man. 7 of 12. Oh, and he's perfect from the line. Are you kidding me? I mean,
3 steals, 58% field goal.
He got a couple shots inside. I didn't realize he was that tough.
Yeah.
My boy bangs in the paint.
He's a good scorer. He's like, he's like, there's a possibility I could be the starting shooting guard over Rozier. He's like, fuck yeah. I'm gonna get out there. I mean, Rozier scored 15 points anyway, but
Book Night is not started over Terry Rozier. You're crazy.
I know that, but at this point, like Terry Rozier,
you think he thinks that?
I think he could.
They just extended him for $94 million.
Yeah,
I would say he's not started over Terry.
This is his cap, right? So this is Rozier. This is who Rozier is going to be, and I think Book Night.
What he is pretty fucking good.
He is really good. He's better defensive player than probably the best defensive guard they have. But Book Night can really, I think he has the potential to show and be that second guard next to LaMelo. We'll have to see. I don't think it happens this year. I think maybe he plays a bench role, and then if he does well enough, they consider trading that super tradable contract of Rozier and getting a decent center.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that like in 2 years. I think for now, you're going to see Terry Rozier be the leader on their offense alongside LaMelo Ball still. I think he's still easily their best player. He's their second best player. Gordon Hayward is their best player.
Yeah. That's right.
Right now. But then, LaMelo Ball could easily change my mind on that. He's only had 1 year, but that's their big three is Ball, Rozier, and Hayward. And it's a solid big three. Hayward even played in the preseason. I saw him go for a dunk and he is coming down. I was like, God, why? Please. No. I thought he was gonna,
thought he was just
blow out his knee. It makes me nervous. But Miles Bridges, solid player on this team. He had 13 points, 5 rebounds today, 6 to 12 shooting. He missed all his threes, but again, is athletic, gains the paint. He got an oop today. Loved it. Love to see it.
Yeah.
PJ Washington, 14 points on 5 of 7 shooting. He got 4 rebounds. No assists. I'd love to see him get some more of those, but 3 of 5 from 3. Oh, yeah, man, I love it.
I'd be more
daggers.
Yeah, I just want to see PJ get up there and get that more rebounds. I mean, only 6 rebounds. He's a power forward. I like to get that up to
4
8,
rebounds.
9. Like I think.
Oh, 6.
No, I mean 6 rebounds average last year.
Yeah, I got you.
I'd like to get up to 8, 9. I don't think he'll hit 10, but I think that would be really nice. That would hold, especially with the center they have, he averages 9 miles, but it's whatever.
Yeah.
But on the other side, Josh Giddey was the big step out here. A lot of people surprised a lot of people. They're like, hey, when he came in, they're like, I don't think he's going to be able to handle the ball as well. I don't think he can make the passes. Granted, he didn't get that crisp of assists, but he was good for ball movement. Everything he did was fine. He was a good scorer. Did what he was.
He helps a lot.
Plus more.
Helps a lot in the fast break.
Yeah. He was able to run that fine, and like I said, like his handle's a lot better. It's actually serviceable. Like that was the biggest concern. Like, can this guy even dribble as a guard or a guard wing, whatever?
Yeah,
and he can. Yeah, he came a long way, or someone didn't scout right. So it's impressive.
I think he looked really good. I mean, he had 7 rebounds too, so that size obviously made a difference. And when you get a guy like that can come down, get the rebounds, he can easily get it out for an outlet pass, kind of like LaMelo Ball does on the other side and did a couple times today. So I think that's who Giddey should model his game after is LaMelo Ball, a guy who's only a year older than him, but he could easily be very similar players.
Funny. Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. But and then of course, like Shea was fine. Poku did some scoring.
Pokashevsky, he only shot 4 of 12, man.
Yeah, I don't know. There's this huge like thing. Like
My
I
boy.
don't get what the hype is about Poco. I mean, he had
Because
like a
he's
couple good
ugly.
games.
He's ugly
Yeah,
as shit. That's why people love him. That is the thing that no one wants to say. He's ugly as shit. He looks like Dobby from Harry Potter, and that's why people love him because he's adorable in like a ugly type of way.
yeah. I guess
You
I don't
want him to do well. I mean, it's the same reason you love Boban, right? He's a freak,
know. I love Boban because he's hilarious.
and because he's a freak.
Yeah, I guess. I
Like
guess
Frankenstein was given a basketball, but he's probably way smarter than me. And I know he can squish my head. So before you all go in the comments, say, oh, you can squish your head. You know, you play basketball. Suck my 2 left nuts. Deal?
Yeah, sure. But
Lou Dort had a solid game, 4 of 9, 3 of 6 from 3. You know,
yeah,
had a sweet dunk too.
just waiting for that year. Lou Dort finally decides that he's ready to score 16 points per game. It's because he just covers around like I'll get a. He's like, I'll score 3 points this game, but I'll score like 26 the next game, and then I'll be back at 5 points. I'm like, dude, you want the touches or not? Like that was Chris Paul's biggest thing. He's like, just shoot the fucking ball, man. Like that's what Chris really tried to push through um to Lou Dort, but he just, I guess, once he left, he's like, nah, I'll just go back to maybe shooting the ball sometimes.
Yeah,
Just get out
hopefully.
there with that confidence, man.
Yeah,
You're good
hopefully he's
enough.
more confident this year. I mean, I think just with more experience comes more confidence. He's a solid player. He's got a spot in this rotation, and he's got good players around him. You add Giddy to the squad. You've already got Shea Gilgeous Alexander, who's great. I like Darius Baisley a little bit. I think
Yeah.
they need a bit more at the big man position, but otherwise, I think they've got a really solid squad here and tons of draft picks. We all know that, so they're gonna they're gonna get some more talent here.
Definitely. Definitely.
But I think that's all we got, isn't it, Dalton?
I think I just wanted to touch more on so the Warriors, their preseason game. Now, I mean, everything was pretty par for the course. Steph Curry was fine. He got caught up in that tried to he made a perfect example of what the refs aren't gonna call.
Yeah, I love
Uh,
it. If they
uh,
just make players look like dorks for
yeah,
doing that, it's gonna be so funny.
yeah, and but that's not the surprising part. What it was how little they played Kaminga and Moody. Only 10 and 9 minutes. They got like very little touches. And I was really surprised, especially for a preseason game. Like I'd expect them to be like, all right, go out there, play 20 minutes. Like we want to see more from you. And like now that's an actual NBA environment. But they didn't play them much at all. They barely
Maybe
even
that's
got them
a
included.
maybe that's a good representation of what it's gonna be like during the season.
Yeah, I mean, I assume so, but it's just tough to see like a seventh, and a 14th pick to just get no minutes, especially because I had Moody as the best rookie outside of the top four,
I
top
think Moody
five.
will get his shot this year. I think he'll definitely get into the rotation. Kaminga is kind of the guy that I think is going to get less minutes this year, but hopefully is given enough opportunities when the Warriors are up in blowouts. Because when you've got Steph and Clay on the same team, you're going to blow a lot of teams out. So I think hopefully they'll get some opportunities late.
Yeah, and but Jordan Poole, awesome. Like
Yeah,
he's showing out. It's his third year, and he's doing really well. 30 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 blocks, 7 for 13 from three. I mean, he's gonna really help out their offense. They leaned on him a lot last year, actually a lot on Lee last year for shooting, but now he's really looking to start coming into his own shot, getting that confidence. And I think if he does, he's going to be that Sean Livingston role they had when they made their
oh
championship
yeah.
run, but
I was
just a
about to
better
make
shooter.
that comparison. I wasn't sure if it was going to be outlandish, but yeah, I mean,
No, it's
that's what they need is another guy who can handle the ball effectively around the perimeter.
and run the offense when Steph is gone.
Yep.
When Steph's on the bench, and I think that's really going to be valuable.
Yeah, I mean, should they have drafted LaMelo Ball over James Wiseman?
Yeah, probably. From the looks of it, I'd like to see a little more than from James Wiseman. I mean, he was injury on and off last year, and they said it was really tough for Steph Curry in an interview. Said it was really tough for James to get into it because he had no summer league, didn't play in college, played like 3 games in college. Like he missed a lot of time, so it was really he was get back on the floor when he was playing NBA games. So he had very little transition time. So now he says he's hopefully stays healthy this season and he'll be able to get his feet out from under him.
Yeah.
The last game I actually want to talk about was that the Pelicans game. So I forgot who they even faced, but
Wolves and Pelicans.
Yeah, the Wolves and Pelicans. Yeah, Wolves looked really good. On that side, I just really hope their defense gets figured out. I mean, their offense looked crisp, looked like they all knew what they were doing. A little too much ISO game for or just pull up shots from D'Lo that I was okay with.
Yeah, he did his heat check shot that he loves to do, and he made the one where he shot it. But sometimes when he shoots those, it can be embarrassing too. So I wish he would tone it down a little bit, but D'Lo is a baller too. You got to let him ball. That's part of what it is with him. This is the best shooting point guard we've had in years. So, if he wants to showboat a bit, it's fine.
Yeah. I mean, it kept it exciting enough, and he made them this time. So it was okay. Like shots are only good if you make them. If you didn't make them, then we'd be talking about it. But, no, the real standouts for me were on the Pelicans, even though they lost. But Trey Murphy, the third, was a standout in summer league, came out already a standout in preseason. I think it's going to be a pattern. I think it's going to translate into the regular season. I think he's going to be a real help for them off the bench, as we were talking earlier in our review of the Pelicans, how they didn't have that much depth. Their bench wasn't looking that great. But now with Trey Murphy, he was looking a lot better. And Nickel Alexander-Walker, that was my favorite thing. He's what was his 22 points per game, 3 assists, 2 steals, 54% from the field goal. He was awesome. I mean, Trey Murphy shot 6 from 3, and Nickel Alexander, just in this Magic game today I was watching, he was making these ridiculous threes. Already made 3 4s. So both those guys know if they want to fit, if they want playing time, they're gonna have to be able to shoot around, because that's all they want around Zion is people just to be able to shoot. Zion's gonna do his thing. He's gonna collapse the defense. If you're able to shoot, catch and shoot, ridiculous. Like Nika Na was making these ridiculous threes today, just killing my Magic. And I was like, all right, man, calm down. Like, where was this?
Yeah, that is what you need around Zion. That's the blueprint. It's similar to with LeBron, a guy who can drive to the rim at will and get any bucket and get to the line. You need to get shooters that he can kick it out to. And they brought in Valanciunas, who can at least shoot the 3 better than Adams did last year. Nickeil Alexander-Walker looks awesome. I think Trey Murphy is a promising player as well. We'll see from that standpoint. I think getting Bledsoe out of here is a blessing in itself and is going to help their shooting just in terms of you get better by, it's at addition by subtraction. Yeah. And not having Lonzo Ball, I think is tough for their shooting because he had come into himself last year. Yeah. And as a defender, I think they lose a lot with Devontae Graham, but I think Devontae Graham's at least got good range as a shooter.
Still, yeah, he's still a better shooter than Lonzo. Just you lose so much on defense. You're not getting that as much as you lose on defense. You're not getting that back in shooting or playmaking. They're really very similar playmaking players.
Yeah, but solid team. Pelicans look great. My Timberwolves looked pretty solid as well. Anthony Edwards had a great dunk. Defensive wise, that's where a lot of the excitement was because offensively he could have done a little bit better. And we know what he is offensively, but defensively we want to see him get better. Apparently he grew a couple inches this year and I could see it. I mean, he got a couple steals. He blocked a dude. Like he got so high up on the air.
He looked like he was really buying in, and that was what he was focusing on this time. So that was cool to see. It was nice. It was weird seeing Pat Bev in a Timberwolves jersey. That was super strange, but
yeah, it's an interesting one. But a great perimeter defender to add to our team, which we needed desperately. Rubio wasn't quite giving us that. Where Pat Beverly, I think, just his mindset. I mean, I can't imagine how much. Anthony Edwards is going to pick up on Patrick Beverly. Like you remember that bit last year when Ant was trash talking with Draymond. Like it's gonna be like that times 10. You're gonna get Pat Bev like telling Ant, no, you got to get in there. Oh, fucking rip his ear off. And Ant's gonna be like, yeah, all right, I'm gonna rip his fucking ear off.
Yeah, that's super. That'll be really entertaining. Excited for that matchup. That'll be good. I can see it now as Pat Bev just emotionally destroying Wiggins. That's all I want. That's all I want to see right now.
Oh, you scared of needles?
But it was a good game. Timberwolves play today or tomorrow?
They don't play till Friday, I think. Right, and they're gonna be in Denver.
Okay,
so
that'll be fine.
Yeah, I had tickets to the first preseason game and I didn't go.
Really?
I had free tickets apparently. We probably should have gone.
Yeah, would have been cool, to see an NBA game in person.
Yeah.
But
I didn't think I wasn't that. My bad. I'll definitely bring you to the next one. But anything else from the preseason action?
I'm all good.
We'll watch a couple more. We'll react to it next time. This was Strictly Ball Business, episode 16. You can subscribe to us here on YouTube. You can subscribe to us here on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere else you get your podcasts. And of course, like us on Instagram at Strictly Ball Business. So we'll see you next time for episode 17. Thanks, everybody.